Okay, welcome back to another episode of Coaching, Caffeine, and Comedy, and I'm your host, Haley Kobza. Today in studio, we have a smoke show of a lady. I actually came to know her when she actually managed the McCook Anytime Fitness here in McCook, Nebraska. Since then, she's moved, got married, and had another beautiful little human. So not only she's going to tell you about her life, but she's also a mom. So I think that's one of the reasons I just absolutely love following her on all social media. So anyways, enough of me talking. You guys usually come here to listen to all the interesting people that we find. So I'm going to let her speak for herself. So let me welcome Abby Kemper to today's episode. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. I am so honored to be here. Like, I'm grinning ear to ear. I think my face hurts a little bit already. But yeah, I'm just excited to be here.
I love this. This is so fun. So, okay, today we start off, Abby, we do a fill in the blank. So like the first thing that comes to your mind. So this is like Family Feud style.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I had some of my volleyball players help me with this. So it's kind of like a gym episode of it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you ready?
Yeah.
So like, for example, I would say go big.
Red.
Yes. Okay. So lift.
Heavy.
Ooh, rack.
Your weights.
Oh. For all those at the McCook Community College, everyone listen to that one. Okay, pull-ups are
Awesome.
protein, carbs.
Macros.
I am
Beautiful.
Oh, I love this. This is great. Never have I ever.
Jumped out of a plane.
Ooh, that sounds fun though. My husband is.
I don't know. The one. He's amazing.
Okay, I am a coach because
I feel called to help others. If I've learned something, I trudge the path. I go first.
I used to
not keep promises to myself.
This is deep. I drink.
Oh, lots of BCAs.
My favorite color is
Salmon pink.
Nebraska is
My home.
My high school mascot was an
Indian.
Good. First impression of me.
She's bubbly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Abby. So, okay. Can you give us, first off, Abby, what is your actual job title?
I am a online nutrition coach and a personal trainer.
Okay. I like it. So can you give us a little background of yourself? I know. So first, I'm going to give you the background that I thought of you when you got here. We're from a small town. McCook is like a really small town. Mind you, Abby doesn't live here anymore, but I just remember this, and I think it's so funny. I just have to say this. So I got my gym membership to Anytime Fitness. You were the manager there, right? Is that the title
yes,
that you had?
yep.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
and I like started working out there. I was like, oh my gosh, like who is this Abby person? Like she is so fun. Like, and everyone's like, oh, she came from California. So like the talk of the gym was like, you were a dancer in California and a gymnast. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And she is in McCook, Nebraska. And then like, lo and behold, like down, the lines of the gym talk, they're like, oh, she's actually from Ogallala, but then she moved out to California, was a dancer in California, and then she came back to McCook. And I'm like, oh my God, this woman has been everywhere. So that's probably, I don't know, that might be some truth to that. But where, like, tell me.
That's hilarious.
Where did you come from? And like, what was your story? And how did you end up getting to McCook, Nebraska? And then we'll go from there.
Okay. So all the way up to McCook, Nebraska. Well, let's just speed it up. Like,
Okay.
I grew up on a farm.
Yep.
I have 5 sisters, 1 brother.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that about you. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Big family.
Big family. Definitely. I don't know how. I'll just do the background of it, I guess, in my fitness ways, because there's so many paths you could go down.
Oh, for sure.
But fitness wise, I was raised in it. My mom, I grew up watching her do her home videos. I grew up watching her like be on the cabbage soup diet and like just do weird things,
Right.
because it was just the age of the diet. It was,
Yes.
and I grew up watching that and just falling in love with it. So actually, like middle school is when I realized that like I love nutrition. I like being the athlete. and also dance. So that's where dance came in.
That's when you became a dancer in California.
Well, yeah, so after I graduated, I went and taught dance. I opened my own academy. I flew out back and forth from North Platte to California, and I did dance in California.
Oh my gosh.
So I was dancing there, doing auditions. I was going to be the dancer. That was my dream.
Right.
Every time it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, a dancer. I didn't even have like a title or like actually like, I don't know what I did. I just wanted to dance. And then so I was teaching dance in North Platte. I was working out at the gym at Anytime Fitness when the owner approached me and was like, do you want to train here? And I didn't have a personal training, you know, I was CPT or not. So I went and got my personal training certification. And I was like, well, yeah, like, heck yeah, I'll train while I teach dance. And I did all the strength and conditioning for the dancers and the cheerleaders already. Like, fitness and lifting was already part of my life. It was, I don't even remember not like having an obsession with it. I watched all my siblings do sports. I watched my mom, my brothers and sisters run marathons and train for them. And so I was like, heck yes, and trained. And then he approached me again. It was like, must have just loved my energy. I was great for the job. This job opened up in McCook, and I started driving down here. I didn't even have a place to live. I was a single mom of 2 kids at that time. So that's a big part of my life.
Yes.
I know I'm just talking about
sure.
like fitness stuff. But I did have my 2 kids, Paige and Abel. They're 9 and 8 now. But then I came back to McCook I moved to McCook, and I was a manager here for a couple years. That's up to McCook.
And then we are. So then you worked here at McCook, loved having you here, and that's how we ended up getting to know you. And then how did you meet your husband?
Oh, I met him at Anytime Fitness. So that's my favorite story, actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
He's a goober, and like everybody just knows when he walks in the room. He's like, wow, somebody came into this building. He's loud and
says hi to everybody.
And says hi and loves everybody. And I just, as soon as he swiped his card at Anytime Fitness, I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And he
Look it up his profile.
I did.
For sure.
I looked him up back in the trainer room, and I was like, where did he get his membership? And it turns out he was from North Platte, but he moved back from Lincoln just 2 weeks before and got a membership at that gym that I was at. So little did we know, like, he would walk in and cross the trainer's room, and we have a big window. And it was funny, we didn't know that each other like had any eyes for each other, but he would walk past intentionally, and I would hope that he walked past, you know. And so we'd always make these weird like, he walked past, not even a hi yet.
Oh my goodness, just looking.
It was so middle school like crush on him, and I had the butterflies, the whole thing. His first time he got brave enough to like say any words to me, he had to be pumped up by his high schooler friend, and that was a little, in the gym, and was like, bro, just go talk to her. So he goes up to me and he's like, those shoes though.
Oh my gosh.
And like I was wearing pretty cool shoes.
Yeah.
But I think he was so embarrassed too because he was loud and he pointed out, and he just kept walking, and I was like, what is wrong with him? I thought something actually was wrong. I was like, okay, dang it. It was too good to be true. Right. Because he's so good looking. And I was like, and dang it, he's a little 2 clicks to the left. And I was like, dang it. Right. But he made it up. I talked to him one Sunday, and we were both in there, and we were stretching on the turf, and he asked me to go to sushi. And I was like, and marry this man, like, I'm sweaty, stinky, after legs, and then we're gonna go eat sushi. And we had the best day ever. And from then on, it was just like effortlessly we've like been able to, I don't know what's that called, weave, like so
I love it.
It's been, not, I shouldn't say effortlessly, but ever since then we've just loved each other more and more and more. Like, we just find more interests, more goals, like we just get better.
He's great. And you gave a very good description of him, because like at any time he'd come in there and he'd always be like, Copsa, and he would just he makes everybody feel good. Not just, everybody. He has a really great personality about him, and he's good.
Huge personality.
Huge guy. Huge guy. Good looking character. And he's so funny. He's so funny. Mm-hmm. And I just remember, I don't remember what we were talking about, and he said he came up, he chats so much, and he was like, yeah, like I was looking, you know, like you used to bodybuild and stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't look like it now. Like I was a mom. And he said, well, one day I'm going to have a baby with Abby and she's going to do this and she's going to look, you know, he's like, it's all about fitness.
Way.
And it was just so sweet. And I was like, I love this. And he's like, I just want to know everything about being a mom and like, how do you get back into fitness? Cause I want to make sure I'm there for Abby. And this was like before you guys
Are
were
you serious?
I am. And I was like,
I
love this guy. And I remember you guys were getting ready to move. And like we're not close or anything, Justin. He's just such a talkative person.
Yeah.
And he's
he spilled. He's a word bomb.
He is. He's like, I'm getting her a ring. Like I am gonna get her a ring before we leave. And it was just so precious. You guys are like,
I love that. Couple. I didn't even know that. And he is there for me. Like that's a perfect segue into like what I'm even doing now. Cause he is there for me. He's so supportive.
So you guys you moved from McCook and you guys went back to your hometown, Ogallala.
Yes.
Nebraska. And why was that change?
Oh man. So we're going to build a CrossFit gym. So we're going to build it from the ground up. That was our dream, to do the gym. And we moved. I was in business class through the community college. I was learning how to set up a business plan for this gym. I wrote, what do you call it when you try to get grants?
We
did the whole thing. We did the whole thing, and then the pandemic hit. So, we lost steam there, but it was all for like a reason. And we got pregnant with our daughter Juniper during that time, and I couldn't even imagine trying to build a gym from the ground up, going through a pandemic and going through a pregnancy. Right. I was like, it was too much. And so we just stopped, and I enjoyed my pregnancy. I really put everything on pause. I shouldn't say that. I didn't put everything on pause. I'm a goal getter. Like if I didn't do something like physically, I moved everything online and during the pandemic, and still went to the gym and trained a little bit at the rec, but also started a business, an LLC, started coaching all online. So I moved everything there. So actually it was a really huge transition. Yeah.
And you guys have like an in-home, like a small in-home, like garage gym, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love watching all of your videos, and I'm trying to remember, like if you were pregnant, I don't know, you were pregnant doing pull-ups, and like there is anybody that can do a pull-up, they got a good story behind them. Cause I'm like, pull-ups are hard as It's been a while since I've been able to do a pull-up. I'm like, give me the biggest weighted band that you have, and I can probably do one. I need a little assistance there. And yeah, you were like doing pull-ups with a child in your belly or something. You're crazy.
Up until like 26 weeks, I think I could do pull-ups and handstand walks. But after that, I started getting hip dysplasia. It was rough. And so like my hips were just so loose and it hurts so bad to just like do anything.
And then you had Juniper, and then did you break your wrist?
Yeah.
Is there a good story behind that? I sure hope so.
Oh my gosh.
It was like all of your videos, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, she's like doing one arm pull-ups now because she...
I was actually like doing everything with one arm, and I would like put a band around it, and I would like do things like banded because I couldn't hold the bar.
So what happened? Please tell me there's like a good story.
And it's actually kind of embarrassing because I was at a softball game, and the more embarrassing,
softball,
co-ed. Like I'm so competitive, and that's what's stupid about it.
I would love to watch you and Justin on a team.
It's horrible, and he's competitive too. And so I thought I could slide. And when you have a baby, like things don't work the same way you thought. And I was only under 6 months postpartum, like 5 months postpartum, I think. And sliding into home. And break my wrist because I used my hand to break my fall. Like, why did I put my hand there when I was sliding? Like, that's the whole point of the slide. I was like, urge, and just crunched it. And then refused to go to the doctor, like, right after. I was so mad. I was just mad at myself. I thought I could, like, be mad and take the pain away that way. Like, if I mentally thought it was not broken, it was not going to be broken until, like, that night was probably the most painful sleep of my entire life. Like it felt just like something was crushing my wrist like the whole time I was sleeping. And then the next day we had 4-H, so I had to help my daughter bathe her sheep
with a broken
and with a broken wrist. And so it's like hanging, and we're trying to like harness the sheep and weigh them and bathe them and stuff and put them in. And then after all that was said, I one-armed my car seat because I'm doing this all by myself too. It's all me. And then took myself to the ER, and I was like, I think my wrist is broken.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first off, you're competitive when you're sliding a co-ed softball.
I know,
that's when you're taking it to another level.
I was so embarrassed.
I mean, when I played co-ed softball, I'd like skip to a base. I'm like, I'm not going to pull any muscles sprinting here. So yeah, you guys
it was rough.
Took it hard.
And it was the last game of the season.
Oh yeah, you had to go.
That's why I had to. Yeah, and we like lost every game. So it was so pointless to slide. It was like literally the stupidest thing ever, and I thought it looked so cool in my head. And
it didn't.
It didn't. It probably it probably didn't.
That's great. Okay, so we'll get a little bit more lighter here. So you're an online coach now. Tell me, what are the most ridiculous things that any of your clients have ever told you? Like, I know fitness is like,
gosh.
There's some wild things out there.
Like, okay.
And you're like, sorry, where did you read that somewhere or?
Yeah, is that true? Is that a thing? So, oh gosh, there's people, mostly the men will say like, I'm drinking like this 10,000 calorie shake or something. It's got like 100 grams of protein in it. And that's where you're just like, I mean,
right.
Where on earth did you feel like that was okay to consume like 2 days worth of food into a blender in a shake? Like, you're not growing anything. This isn't going to like, increase your protein synthesis and, like all that stuff. So that's pretty crazy is when we have people actually bulking in general is always crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Is when, people are like, I'm going to put on some muscle. And so they like, I don't know, they like increase their calories by like 2 to even 3% of what they were doing. Even that, like, I'm saying like that, maybe I should say 300%. Like if you're eating 2,000 calories, then they start eating like 4,000, 5,000 to build. And that's always crazy to me.
That's so much food.
It is for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Like for Justin, maybe not so much, obvious. Like,
right.
But even him, it's like, I think people don't understand that, like, we really don't need that much food.
No.
Like, we don't. And, but we also need enough. And so like, there's two different sides. Like the other crazy thing I hear is, like I hear some clients that they'll be like, okay, well, I eat about 600 to 800 calories a day or something like this. I wake up and I do cardio and like, and when they say stuff like that, like, well, when all I can, like, I'm just like, oh gosh, your poor body. Like, how can it give you anything or do anything right now in the state it's in? Such a deficit, so much cardio, like it is work. You're just like, it's just so much stress at that point. And stress, there's good stress, but there's also, there's too much stress. And a calorie deficit is stress. Cardio is stress. All the other stressors outside of your, life. And for a body to take that, like, so I really try to help my clients understand that though that they're building in the gym and it is a stimulus and it's a stress, the recovery should be just as hard. Like, so the food, the water, the sleep, the foam rolling, the stretching, the yoga, like that stuff should be just as hard, if not more important than the actual training session, because you can only adapt to what you can recover from. And if you're not recovering, you're not adapting, you're not growing. And so I think that that's a big conundrum in the gym. They just tear down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, say it louder for the girls in the back. I think I had a trainer one time, because I was like the same way. I was like, not eating as much calories and just running all the time. And so, of course, this trainer, she could see like everything I did from my Apple Watch. And she's like, sent me a text message. She's like, will you please stop effing bouncing around and running, please? Like, it's not good for your body. Like, let's work on doing other things. Like, you're going to get just as much out of lifting heavy as you are running and bouncing around doing stupid things like
all
that.
Your
yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I just feel like I sweat more.
Oh my gosh, okay, that's the craziest thing. If you don't sweat, like that's a big thing. If you don't sweat at the gym, like you didn't work hard enough or something. I'm like, wait, what? I barely sweat. I mean, I'm sweating now. I think that's nervous sweat. But I barely sweat during my lifts. I mean, I get a little sweaty during my cardio, but during my lifts, unless it's like a really heavy leg day, I don't know. I'm not leaving the gym like I used to. I'm not gonna. I used to. I used to kill myself in the gym. Like I used to thought like more is more is more.
Yeah.
That's actually when I was in McCook. I was literally killing myself. Isn't that crazy?
It is like, all it takes is like one person to finally be like, what are you doing? And then it's just like, okay, you clearly know more than I do. So I'm going to listen to you. And that's what I think. One, I'm a firm believer that everybody should have a trainer. Like it doesn't matter if you're like, if whatever, like just to maintain. And I listened to this one podcast and somebody's like, you pay somebody to get your hair done, right? Like if you're going to do that, pay somebody to help you live. And so I think I'm like, I just love trainers because
that's cool. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're people that say that they don't have the money to pay for a trainer a month, I'm like, but you're going to pay for a gym member, it just doesn't equal up. But
but also when you have to look at where you want to grow. So if fitness is a priority for you and you have not mastered it, then you do need a trainer. You need a coach. And like, I am a coach, and so I self-coached myself my entire life, up to the stage. I knew I had to do it because I had to tap into this I don't know, this inner coach, this gut instinct, this intuition that I knew I had. But let me tell you, it was 100 times harder without a coach. I can't even tell you the times I would sit and cry over my check-in because I'm torn between being the athlete and the coach, and I'm like 2 weeks out, depleted, can't sleep very well, and trying to figure out my macros.
Right.
Like trying to figure out what's wrong. And so that was, it was a battle. At that point, I knew after, if I was going to go to nationals, I was going to get myself a coach.
Right. So in saying, let's go back. So you had Juniper, and then what was it? Because it was like a year-long journey for you to get, because you decided, and you must have set a goal that I'm going to compete.
Yep.
Physique, right?
Yeah. Bikini.
Bikini. Yeah, bikini competition. So you were going to do that. So like, what was it like? Okay, after I have Juniper, did you like set a goal, or like what? How did that start?
Yeah.
Because like when people start to like compete, you clearly know what you want to do. It's not like one morning you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna
put on this itty bitty bikini
and show my butt cheeks to the world. Let's hear it.
Okay, well, so after I had Juniper, I actually struggled with postpartum depression really bad. Definitely hit it, but I was trying to be successful at breastfeeding. But I was also mentally, I've always struggled with body image. And so after I had Juniper, I was like, what did I do to myself? I let myself go because I just ate my way to the top. I really did. But I went with this like YOLO personality during my pregnancy. Like
it's the mentality. You got to feed that second.
It was.
Human, right?
I thought so too. But I never stopped training. I did. I never stopped training. And I never stopped like caring for myself. Like I do the yoga, I do the weight training. And I think that's what gave me a really strong foundation, kept all my muscle mass. But mentally I struggled. I was really struggling with identity. Like that was one of my biggest, actually, one of the biggest catalysts to the bikini competition as my identity. I was like, who was I? What am I going to do? I'm here, staying at home mom. I've never done this before. I was a working single mom. My kids always went to daycare. I was always on top of my game. Like I was. And from being on top of my game and and having my body be something that I identify, like I really put a lot of identity in my body and my in like just being at the gym and everything. And when I didn't have that, I didn't know who I was. And so I went through about 6 months after like postpartum of just battling back and forth of through that, and lots of lows, a lot more low. Like I wish looking back on it, there was more highs, and there was, and I did a lot of bonding, and looking back on it, the lows were the highs now, because I needed to do all that work, that inner shadow work, that deep work. I read a lot of books. I took a lot of time to myself, a lot of reflection. I went to the pool every single day because, just brought my kids to the pool. it was like I was making up for lost time because I never took my kids to the pool. I just worked all the time, and I didn't take that break. And so I took the break. I guess you could say I like channeled my flow energy that summer. And while I was channeling my flow energy, I was still progressing with my weight loss and my workouts. I was gaining momentum. It was fun again in the gym. I was building a foundation, but no aim, nothing to go for, still working on the identity. Justin and I were driving up to Denver one day and in a very heated argument. and we were just, he's just like, what do you want to do? Because I'm just like, I can't do this. I don't have anything to strive for. Like this is, I have to have a date. I have to have something to look forward to. And so after doing all that inner work, I was like, you know what? The first step for me is to find something that scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, because it does, because
Yeah.
the bikini does, the bikini
does.
competition. And I looked at that because I never saw myself as that. Like it was always a dream in my head, but I never actually like put myself in that position. And then also the way I was raised, like it was just not, very conservative. It's just still, yeah.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But the 3-hour drive up there, this was a very long story for really just to say that in a drive, I told Justin I'm gonna freaking do a bikini competition, and I kid you not, it was a switch in my head, and I wish I could explain to people how when you focus on what you aim for, and when you're aiming at something, the work doesn't even matter to get
it doesn't.
there.
Yeah, everything.
I didn't
is just
care
tunnel vision,
as soon
for sure.
as I had that goal in my head, and I told myself like, that's going to be your moment that you can show up and have courage in your life, and you're going to gain so much knowledge and discipline and awareness on your body on the way. But it's going to be hard. It was this crazy feeling of, yes, like this was it. It all aligned. Like the stars aligned actually, because I looked at it and I was like, I after that it was tunnle vision for me. Everything was fun. Every week was exciting. All the ups and downs. Weeks I would text my sisters and I'd show them my progress and be like, guys, look, my weight hasn't changed in 3 weeks. And look at me. Like my weight hasn't changed in 3 weeks, but I'm being consistent. I'm doing the things I need to do. As soon as I get a negative thought about my body, like this is, I don't know, I should throw this in there too, is because as soon as I do that, I actually run in front of the mirror, like in my bra and underwear or something like that, and say 3 positive things or something I love about it, and something I'm doing that was good, like celebrate a victory. I showed up today. Today my workout wasn't the best this morning, and I went there, but immediately you have to pull yourself out of there, and I was like, but I showed up. Dang it, I showed up. Good job for showing up.
And I 100% agree. And I wish there was some way, like you said, like how do you tell like people, like it could not just for bikini competitions, but once you figure out that goal, everything else is just a blur. Like you just like, and I was the same way when I was like, I'm doing this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And looking back, I'm like, I gave 4 months of like, I didn't care what everybody else did, what they had to say. Cause you're pushing so hard towards that end goal. And even now I'm like, why can't I get that back? I always have these things, but it's like, until like you focus in, and it's like everything in life. Like I wish people could wish there was some way like to make that just happen, but it's literally, it's like, you got to put your heart and soul into it. And then like you said, it is, let's go. The ups, the downs are the ups, and it's a fun progress. So yeah.
Oh, you keep going.
No,
I was gonna say something on that because you were saying I wish people would see that, and I wanted to I don't know. I wanted to tag on that because another thing I had to do during this journey, which was the most craziest thing, we talked about it before, is I started having to fall in love with failing. Like I had to be okay and be okay with failing a lot and growing and be like, okay, this week didn't go as planned. Oh my gosh. And I would look back without judgment, recalibrate and move forward. But the process of failing over and over and over is sometimes unmotivating, right? And so I could see one hack I did was I made things smaller and in bite-sized pieces, like tiny habits. And so then I would start having more success. Like if I could just do this little habit and I would succeed. And so there were really small bites. Like I didn't go from A to Z. Like I didn't go from where I was before and now without little steps along the way, because otherwise this lifestyle was unattainable to me too. Like now it's almost normal. But a year ago I was like, why can't I get my crap together? Why can't I track the macros? Why can't I weigh my stuff? Why can't I get motivation to go in the gym? And as soon as I was realizing that motivation comes from keeping your promise to yourself, from saying I'm going to wake up and go to the gym. Even if I didn't get the best workout, I woke up and I went there and I came home. Boom. I just kept my promise. I just gained confidence. That motivation stirs on to the next thing. I eat a little bit better at breakfast. So once I started making these tiny habits, keeping the promises to myself and like pushing the ball up the hill or whatever, just little by little, not like sitting there at the bottom looking up and be like, oh my gosh. Like,
right. And I guess the coolest thing about your whole story with this in the last year is that you did this all by yourself. Like you failed alone. Not like, I mean, you had Justin in your background, but like you failed alone. You know, most people that are training for a competition, no matter what they're doing, they're training with a coach. And I'm putting you right up there next to preschool and kindergarten teachers. That's hard crap to do. And you did it by yourself. So you competed.
Yes.
Did awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you ended up making it to nationals.
I did.
So after nationals, you decided, or not after nationals, after your first competition, you decided, right? You kind of wanted to go, like,
yeah,
maybe
well,
have somebody
I fell in love with this lifestyle too.
It's so fun.
It's addicting.
Oh my gosh.
Falls right into my, like, I actually enjoyed prep so much to the point where I wanted to like jump right back into a prep because of like control. I was just like, I love controlling my food and my time and my supplements, but there it was not sustainable, one, and then two, it was a priority in my life, and it took precedence over my family, and they were okay with that. Like they understood that like there was times where I wasn't upstairs watching a movie with the kids. I was downstairs doing cardio. Mm-hmm. There was time, and there were those times. And so right now I'm very happy with like, I get to sit with them more. And I ate tacos last night and I never get like, I mean, I get to eat tacos, but like, I just got to enjoy it. We got to sit there and enjoy it. And I was like, wow, I don't have to be so militant. Like I forgot to take my magnesium last night. And during prep, I would have flipped. Right. And actually, that would have never happened. It would have never happened because I plan out every single part of my day, like down to the 15-minute increments. Mm-hmm. Like everything that is going to happen today is already in my planner. And so I am in control of my day, like my time. And I still do that. But now I get a lot more time. All that time I was allocating to prep is now filled with family, filled with trips coming here.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Yeah.
So when is nationals?
Well, I'm looking at Vegas in July.
Okay.
But I really want to get my period back. I don't know how to say that out loud.
Yeah. No, that's...
but it's okay. I'm just going to be really raw about it. My health is first priority to me.
Yep.
And my kids are my first priority. And I lost it. And that's what happens. It's an extreme sport.
Yes, it is.
And
it's a lot.
Yeah. But I don't want to, I lost it about 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. And so, this would be the 4th month. And so I was really hoping to get it back by now because I'm like, I recovered well, a little bit of a rebound after my show, but it was my first show, whatever. I forgive myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm on maintenance and I know it's coming back. I can feel it. I'm getting some acne. Like, I know it's going to come back here soon. And so once it shows its ugly head, or it's going to be I'm excited for it. I don't want it, but I know
it's a part of
it's life.
Health.
Yeah, it's health.
When I trained, I lost mine as well. And then I got pregnant like 5 weeks after my last show, and I hadn't had a period.
No way.
In like 9 months. And so the doctor was like, how is this happening? And then PSA, never get pregnant after competing, because I gained like 120 pounds because I was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
I gotta eat all the
Oh
food.
my
Like I haven't ate in 9 months. All this tilapia and asparagus is not gonna feed this baby.
That is
Which
so
is horrible. I
funny.
was so big. I was like 247 pounds. It was
For you,
absurd.
that's
Yeah, and like to go from the skinniest
yeah.
I've ever
To go,
been.
I was gonna go from bikini weight,
Yeah.
and plus you're a sponge. Right
Oh,
after you,
boy.
yeah, like
Like,
right
I
after you
mean,
compete, your
yeah.
body's depleted, and
it's
it's like
holding on to everything, and
Yeah.
the doctors were like, "How did you have a kid?" And like I never got it back for like 4 years, and I ended up having
Why?
2 kids. And so that was like, that's funny that you talk about that,
whoa.
which I'm like, which is so crazy to me. But then finally, my body got it back. It's
It
a lot of
started
work.
regulating. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
it's a
work,
lot
and
of
so
work.
that
And
yeah,
it's a
that
part
is
of
a
life and health. You need it. You need it.
You have to have
You
it,
have
yeah.
to have it.
So it's a huge focus of mine. I've been incorporating lots of things. Like I've been taking Harmony from First Form,
Okay.
and then I make sure to get 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed or chia seeds every day. Get that good healthy fat every day, and keeping my calories up there, and just making sure to show trying to channel my inner flow again. I was really masculine there for a while. Like I was real in that, and that's awesome. It was that go, go, go mode. And then after prep, like sitting here, I'm like, I don't know what to do. It feels like I have no deadline.
Right.
So, I signed up for Boulder because I had to have something. I was like,
Right.
well, I guess
Gotta
I'll
have
run a
something to push
10K.
forward. Yes, I love it. I love it. Oh, this journey, like I love all of it. Okay, what about some gym pet peeves?
My gym pet peeves.
Let's go top. You're getting situated. Top 3.
Top 3? Okay,
Yes.
so top 3 gym pet peeves. One would be when I'm working out and somebody there's lots of room and lots of mirror space, and they put their stuff right next to me. Just right next to me. And I'm just like, bro, move. I take up this whole area in my superset, so
Yes, this
scoot.
is my zone.
This is my yeah.
And
So that's a pet peeve when people talk to me with my headphones in, because I still haven't figured out how to double tap or one tap or whatever. So I have to take my headphones out like a loser. I'm like, what? And then I have to put them back in and stuff. And so normally I just point to them when they talk to me. I'm like, and I'll give them a head nod or say hi or something. But no, actually probably I'm pretty intimidating in the gym, so I don't even think anybody I might be other people's pet peeves. I think just
right. That one
maybe
girl that
I
comes
do
in
that
there
with the hat on and the AirPods and
just acts like she owns the place.
yeah, maybe that's me. Another one of my pet peeves would be well, obviously I'm a trainer, so when people come in and they go right to the weights.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just start lifting and cranking on their joints and cranking on cold muscle and just, ego lifting all over the place. Ego lifting, that's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah.
Going to the gym. So I switched gyms, which is, and it's nothing. So I was working out anytime and then going to the Y. And everybody has a fun fitness journey. And it's so funny, like the times I go lift, it's such an odd range of people. So at any time it was the big guys. And it's just, if you're ever lifting and you lock eyes in a mirror with somebody, you're like, oh my God, you just start back and lifting. And so then I went to the Y, and the time that I go, I have volleyball players that work there. It's I swear it's the junior high babysitting club there. So it's me and 10 little junior high punks lifting in the weight room. And it is, I just keep telling myself, I'm you know what? I'd rather have these little kids in here than some men, but
I was going to say, then the big old juice heads.
Yeah, but juice heads. I've never heard of that one.
You haven't heard of a juice head?
Juice
I
heads.
call them
Oh my gosh.
I love it. But I'm a juice head. I can say that now because it's dude, I love a pump just as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
I'll sit there right next to you and stare at myself in the mirror and be
just,
you see that shoulder and that vein? Pump,
you're sitting over here and I'm oh my God, look at those shoulders. Oh my God.
I'm growing.
Yes, I love it.
I'm eating more than I have.
You can see the veins and everything. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, I think I feel flat. That's so
oh
funny.
wow,
I feel
you look
flat.
good. You look good. I'm girl crushing over here. I'm turning red. Okay. So also, you make these fun videos. I love all the videos that you make. So keep posting those. Please do this just because I just need this for posting. You know the TikToks. Are you on TikTok?
I was.
Yeah.
I love the Instagram reels.
Yeah,
I could
so you
only
make-
figure out one technology.
Well, I'm like, okay, is she on TikTok? But they're like, so I didn't realize Instagram has like the same thing.
The reels,
The
yeah.
reels. Okay, so you make those. These are like on TikTok. They make these. I'm like, these are the stupidest freaking videos when they're like, oh, I was over here lifting and look who came to help me. And like this girl, like she's like lifting heavy and then her weight drops and some hot hunk comes over and he's like lifting it up and she's, are those like real life or are those a joke? You know, it's one of them.
Yes, I think those are definitely a joke.
I hate those though. I'm like, this is not realistic, ladies. Like no man's going to come over there and get behind you and start doing a pull up right next to you.
And start saying.
So could you and Justin please do one of those just for fun?
Absolutely. And he would love to.
Oh, I
like
know,
he
Justin.
he loves them just as much as I do.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He'll be like, okay. Like I think that sometimes I'm annoying him because I'll be like, let's do a reel and I get a little embarrassed sometimes. I'm glad it's good hearing that you enjoy them because
love them.
Sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, like, am I making a joke out of my, like, am I seriously like cringy? And that's why I asked some of my family too. I'm like, am I cringy or are they funny? Are they like legitimately funny?
They're great.
Okay, good.
I love
but
it.
I will do that with him because,
I think you just made a
it.
post the other. I just love all your content. There was one. It was like either you go to the gym like looking hot as fuck, or you look homeless.
I look like a little boy,
which is so
No, it's so true. I'll wear like my little baseball cap
Yeah.
and I'll wear one of Justin's shirts and then I'll
Yeah.
tuck in and stuff. And they're like, "You look like a middle schooler." I'm like, I know. It's either that or I'm in like some bomb shit. Like,
Yeah. Well, if you went to the Y, A, you'd fit in, or B, they'd all be like, "Oh my god,
They
look
stare.
at her! Look at her!" Yeah. Oh boy, I love this. Okay, so how do you start off with a client? Like, let's say I come to you and I'm like, Abby, what's your first thing that you do?
my first thing is
How do you start off?
I tell them, hi, because if how I start off, it's usually how they approach me and but how I start off is, what do you need from me first?
And you're all online, so this is all.
This is like, so normally like I ask and it's through like social media,
Right.
or if it's face to face or a text or a phone call or something, but I get it clear. I make sure I'm clear. What do you need from me? Because if I can't give you what you need, I will say that. I'm not afraid of not knowing something. I'm not afraid of being like, I can't help you. But if I can help you, I'm going to ask you what you need. Then I'm going to ask, what's your biggest obstacles getting to where you want to go? Like, what's holding you back? And they normally know what's holding them back. And they'll be like, my eating, my this, I work, I'm a nurse, I do night shifts. And they'll let me know. And so I'll have just a little bit of information there. And so I say, great. I have your solution. I do. I really, and I'm confident in myself and my program that I'm like, can I get on a call with you? Can we do a free fitness consultation so I can hear more about obviously what they're going through, and then also so I can take notes, and it just helps the onboarding process. It helps me get right to their plan, because they usually when people reach out, it's like, and I want it yesterday.
Yes,
So
when do we start?
Yeah. So getting that first impression, and as soon as you meet somebody, it is really about listening and finding out exactly what they need, and how as a coach I'm going to be able to do that for them, and if I even can, and if it's a right fit. Also in the consultation, you'll find out how committed they are, and that's another thing. I'm not going to coach you. Like I will not coach somebody who is not committed to the process, because I feel my time is so valuable and you can't put a price on that. And so either I'm going to help you get to where you need to go and you're not going to waste your money and we're going to freaking crush it together, or go find a cookie cutter plan, go spend $50 and figure it out and do the run of the mill, until you're serious and you come back to me and you're like, okay, now I'm serious. Like,
Right. Right.
So that's another thing, commitment. Like I can sniff that right out. I'm like, no,
I think
you're not even
trainers. I don't know. I just have a mad respect for all trainers that, like, they work on making themselves better. Like, I know for you, you're always learning. You never stop.
Yeah.
Like you never can stop learning about. Somebody's calling me. That's fun. you never stop learning, especially in the health field. And I think one of the biggest thing with trainers is not so much the workouts, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here. It's the nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no,
It's both.
you know, it's nutrition is it's the devil, really.
It's rough because
Anybody can
there's
go to
so
the
much
gym.
nuance out there.
Yeah.
And honestly, the gym is
great.
rough too. I mean,
Yeah.
as
What are you
far
doing?
as like
Right.
learning goes, but I'm getting better too. And so I don't like. I feel like there's levels of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on different levels, and there's different habits and different tools you have to have for a different level. If you want to sit at this level and you're perfectly fine going to the gym or doing what you're doing, and you're just going to stay on that level, right? If you want to level up, you're going to have to get the tools that people on this level are doing every day.
Right.
And so you can't sit there and think that you're just going to look at that and be like, I'm going to have abs one day, or get the body like. You have to go through the struggle. You have to learn. You have to learn through your nutrition, your gym. There's emotional, spiritual. Like, abs are not just nutrition and gym. They're sleep, their recovery, their mental health. They're like, if you're going to show, like, if you're going to be that lean or if you want that body physique, there's a lot more than.
Oh, yeah. You need sleep.
Yes.
You need 8 hours of sleep. There's
so many other habits that need to be looked at. And
right.
So what I think when people struggle, it's not so much like the hows anymore. I've realized, because when I talk to people, I'm like, okay, so you really understand nutrition, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, and you understand what's like what you're, like what you can eat, and in a sense, like I'm talking about like level 1 people right here.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to bring them to level 2. I'm not talking about like the 1%
right.
up here. So it's really just action and that they're lacking. So it's action, and their behavior. And so as a coach, it's like, okay, well, you track your data because you have to. It has to be measurable. If you want to grow, it has to be measurable. You have to track your data. So there you go. And now I'm going to look at that data. So you have extra accountability, and you have somebody I'm at that level where like I'm bringing them to level 2. I would say I would be up there in the 2%. Okay. Right. I mean, I'm not the 1% yet because I'm not a pro at all this, but I'm in the 2%, and I know enough of the tools and the help to help others, help coach them to gain those tools. But they're the ones who have to go through it. Like, they're the ones who have to go through the birthday party and realize that if they're going to have the cake, that's totally okay, and they can fit it into their plan based on their goals. But they sacrifice things here. They lose a little here, or they have to do something here. And it's like, there's a balance. And once they get really, once they master one habit, I add another habit in there and be like, all right, so you mastered sleeping 7 hours. Now let's try. I mean, I can only get about 7 to 8 just with kids and life and everything, or around 7. But I'll just be like, now that you've mastered this habit, that's a go. Now let's work on hitting, I usually do 5 tasks a day. But I give them tasks. Everything is, that's really how it is. It's just getting their actions, their habits, helping them integrate it into their life, and also helping them believe that and attach their identity to those habits. That's a whole nother topic and conversation. It's like, I can tell them what to do again. I can have like the most perfect plan, but if you don't believe like you're going to see the results at the end of the program, then you're not going to get them.
Exactly.
And breaking through that barrier is another really hard task. And it's like, like you said, like, it's one of those things too, is where you have tools. I can tell you, I can give you tools that I do. As soon as I have this, like, I can hear myself making excuses in my head. I've been able, through lots of like meditation, through lots of yoga, through lots of inner work, I've been able to hear those thoughts and grab a hold of them really fast and be like, no, that's bullshit. That's an excuse. I'm just giving myself an excuse of why I don't want to do my cardio. Get your butt up and do your cardio.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess I get to be that for them until they have that inner coach themselves. So I get to be like, nuh-uh, that's an excuse. Get your butt here.
Right. Like, again, trainers, all of them. Not all of them. There's some that are bad, but and it's not. And you're not just
a lot of crappy trainers.
There's some bad ones out there. And I also think you're working with nutrition. You're working with their workouts and stuff. But also, you guys are like, you're coaches. Like, for me, I'm a volleyball coach. It's not just the gym and all of that. We're also like counselors. And I feel like with trainers, you guys are the same way. Like if somebody's doing a check-in, like, how was your week? And then all of a sudden you ask that super simple question. And then they're just like, well, this all happened. And, the stress and all that also adds into health.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
so I look at it as they're all levers, they're all pillars, and they're all experiences. And so I always say I'm a spiritual being having human experiences, because everything I'm doing is an experience and everything that's happening to you. And so being able to, be that person to them in that moment, it's really important for me to listen more than anything. For sure. Because one, out of my, I'm not going to say anything out of my scope. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not their counselor. I'm not, I don't have a doctor in front of my name. And there's things I'm not going to go out of my scope of practice. But there's ways you can do that as a coach, helping them pull it out of themselves. So helping them find the answer, because the answer is usually in what they're saying, and you can, if you listen hard enough, you can kind of grab it out and repeat it back to them, and they're like, oh, I've never heard it like that. And and I'm like, so you're telling me that you think that you're gonna be fat your entire life? Like you're telling me that that's where you're gonna be, so that's where you want to be, like that's where you see yourself. That's a belief, right? Yeah, and so and they didn't say it, right? And then they're like, no, I didn't say that. I don't think I'm going to be fat my entire. And I'm like, okay, so let me get this correct though. You're telling me that maybe that you don't deserve the body of your dreams. Is that correct? And then the more and more I ask them if what's correct, what I'm hearing, the more and more they like either if they defend it or how they respond to that belief, it can really tell me, help uncover this underlying belief. And so I know that when I'm coaching this client, that this client has an underlying belief that, like, from childhood, from an event, whatever, that maybe like that they're going to be overweight. They're going to struggle with their weight the rest of their life. They were told that somewhere and they bought into that belief. And now that's a belief I have to battle through.
Right.
And so when they say other stories that are on top of that, that's really what I just try to do. I don't try to help them like uncover the root. I recommend books all the time. I recommend podcasts. I recommend yoga, meditation, breathing exercises. I recommend affirmations, mantras, like anything I can recommend to help them. But at the end of the day, I really just try to listen and take note and just be like, all right, okay, so this is what we're dealing with, and it just, you can help it as it goes. Like as you coach, it'll come out. And I usually ask the client to keep track of those thoughts themselves. And they can actually start seeing their own patterns. And they're like, oh, I don't always think this way. I'm like, exactly. Like you don't. Sometimes you wake up and you feel like you're like God's gift to earth. Like, and then sometimes you wake up and you're like, why am I here? Yeah. It's keep track of those thoughts.
Yeah. Like, I love it. Awesome. Okay. I'm trying to think. Is there any other questions? Am I missing anything major?
For me?
For you? Giselle, we have a guest in here. Giselle, am I missing any questions? Awesome. She's.
Can I tell you what I'm about to do?
Do it.
I've never talked about this.
Okay,
yet.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. I am in the midst of working on something.
I am listening.
I know.
Ears.
Okay. So I was like, do I want to tell everybody this?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So I have journaled religiously, and I'm not for I don't know how long, and I've just discovered the power of the written word, and how that and I, without sounding so like cliche, how it manifests, into real life, and how I told you I control my time.
Right.
I control my time and all that. So, I am actually in the middle of designing my own journal, like for my clients.
Ooh.
And
I love a paper and pen.
Me too. There's magic in it. When you put it out there, like words become action, or thoughts become words become actions. Actions dictate your destiny. So when you write it down, like when you write it down, there's stuff that happens. So I'm designing this journal purely for women who are wanting to increase their fitness levels or their health level, or whatever. I have 2 different versions of it. I have one that I'm designing for prep. So it's going to be 100%. And I am my own guinea pig, but I was also my own inspiration, which I was really excited about, is because a knee-jerk reaction was wanting to look up online and be like, what's the best of the best? Who's the best journal writer? Who's the best, coach? And just kind of do that. But at the end, I would be copy and pasting. I would be just doing something that has been done before. So I went and I uncovered, and I got all my journals through the past years, laid them out, went through them, reflected on how I grew, what worked best for me, what I put down, what I thought was necessary. And so by designing this journal, I have literally everything that I went through woven into them. So when I hit low moments, I kind of knew where those were. And I know what happens. I know what happens in your hormones. I know what happens in life. I'm actually adding that into the journal with women, because it's I want to make sure that they don't feel alone, and that it's very normal to go through that process, but also make sure they're checking the boxes in their life as well. Today, who can I connect with? Today, these are my top 3 priorities, and how am I going to do them well? These are the supplements I'm taking. These are this, and I have it all designed out. But also I'm picking out specific meditations, specific quotes, and then tips at the bottom. For week 1, week 4 tips, focus on this stuff only. So basically every coach could use this as a tool. Every single coach on the earth could be okay, go pick up this journal and start writing it.
I love it. I am all about journals. Aren't I? Yeah. I do. I think I feel like we're the same person, but you're younger and
no, we're the same.
We are the same person, because I'm all about journals. I'm you got to put stuff down, and I've even started making my team. We'll just start getting your journal. I buy a journal, and they have to journal through their hardest part of their year, which is the 3 months of our season, and so they have to journal every day.
Yes,
and it's like what you're saying. You gotta it can't just be a plain blank piece of paper for me.
No, it has to be measurable, trackable data,
and you can put stuff on there. And I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm super excited
when it happens.
Oh, so the first one's gonna come out pretty soon. I'm almost done. I already designed all that. It's actually, the journal is for prep, but I figured that all athletes could use it.
For sure.
It's called 16 Weeks Out. And so you open it up, and it's week 1.
I love that.
And I've got, and it's not replacing a coach at all, or a trainer. No. There's no workouts, there's no macros in there.
But there's putting stuff down.
Yeah, but there's places where you can write your macros and stuff in there. And but there's also places where it's called, where I have that I've done, mirror thoughts.
Right.
Stand in front of the mirror. What are 3 things that you're or thoughts? And then also to changing them. If you had a negative thought, right? To notice thought patterns. I want it all down there. If I was my high performance coach, what would I tell myself about today? I want reflection in there. I want everything. I
love this. That's cool. That's awesome, Abby.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
So cool.
I'm excited.
That's
I don't know why
cool.
I was nervous.
I love it.
Because sometimes when you say it, you're oh gosh, now I
just put that out there.
Yeah, I got to get this done.
No, I think that's awesome. Shoot, sign me up. I might even just do a prep because of that. Totally kidding. My body hates me right now.
But it could be 16 weeks out of anything.
Anything, for sure.
So that's why I was really hoping for somebody could find it, and it's actually going to be, the funny part, it's going to be 20 weeks journal, because I have posts too. I want to cover those 4 weeks post show or post goal are rough.
Yeah.
That nobody talks about, that hole that you fall. They kind of talk about it. People kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot of guidance, and there's also, it's really hard to go, to transition from that from prep to real life again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Oh wow. We could talk all day about competing and prep and.
Oh, I know I could.
Yeah. Wildness. Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby, so much for doing this. So we finish up. We just ask some fun questions because, like, we kind of talked about this earlier. I get all my content, like what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, by listening to other people that I'm like, I just love this person. What does she read every night before she goes to bed?
Yeah.
So first fun question, because I just posted a Twitter about this. You have kids. You're an awesome mom. Also, that's another thing I love about you is that you're a mom. Like, that's I do not believe in excuses. Like, I don't believe in excuses. I tell myself this, but like for me, I'm like, I can't frickin' work out with kids, but yes, you can. Like, there's no frickin' excuse. Like, you, prime example, you have 3 children, beautiful children. You're a great mom. And look at you. You're just like over there, just
thank you.
Buff as shit. You can do pull-ups.
And I bring, it's hard. You know what? Sometimes I don't give myself enough credit or applause for that. Like, it's funny. I don't even think of it. I really just like, load Juniper up, and I've been taking her to the gym with me since she was 3 weeks old.
I love it.
So
yeah, she'll be here in like 20 years talking. Okay, so you have kids. What are the top 3 songs that your kids like to listen to in the car?
Coco Melon right now is like peace. Yeah. I'd like to eat my peace. Yes. But that one, we always sing it. Everybody walks around the house just saying it to everything. Yeah. I'll be like spaghetti. It doesn't even rhyme. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Have you heard the things like Coco Melon, like
in
messes
your brain?
With your brain? Yeah, it's Wheels on the Bus for us.
Oh, really? Second song right now. Oh, my son loves music. Loves music. So I'm trying to think of what he normally plays when he grabs my phone. I'm having like a brain fart. Oh, one song we like is the We Don't Talk About Bruno.
Oh, yes.
That one.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
We play that one a lot. And then for a while there, it was Astronaut in the Ocean for Abel.
Oh, okay.
Like what you heard. Like he'll roll out that one, and he loves himself some Imagine Dragons. But I think that was like a whole list of them.
That's great.
That's what's going on in my house.
I love it. Okay. What are you currently watching?
I don't really watch TV. So when I watch TV, it's when I was doing cardio. That was actually my reward.
That's literally the only time I watch.
Yes, TV. Yeah. So Netflix is my reward because I'm a big fan of attaching a reward to a habit. Otherwise, you don't do it. Like we gotta like our body has to be like woo dopamine dump, and that was my Netflix or my Instagram scroll. Yeah. That's when I was doing it. If I'm on Instagram, you just be like, oh, I've been doing cardio because that's when I'm scrolling and I'm walking and. Or I was watching Bridgerton. So I did have a show. Oh. I was watching Bridgerton.
Amen.
Yes. Love that show.
The Duke.
The Duke.
Season 2, I was like, where in the... This is the only reason I'm watching this show when he's not there.
And he wasn't even there the whole second time. Yeah, though.
Gosh, a woman can dream. Favorite podcast? You don't have to say mine, but it's super cool. But
it is amazing. Podcast? My favorite podcast would be Muscle Intelligence with Ben Pekulski.
Muscle Intelligence. I'm writing.
Write that down. Write it down. Okay. I've learned so much from that podcast. I can't even, I have to re-listen to his podcast about 3 times. Really? That's how much information is on there because he brings these incredible, people, like these intelligent doctors and scientists and coaches, and you're like, oh gosh, I need a notepad and pen. Like, you can't listen to it in your car because you've got to be like, I do dishes and I have a notepad next to the dishes. And so I put the podcast in and whip out the dishes and I'm like, oh, I got to write that down.
Yeah. Caffeine of choice. Do you do caffeine?
Yes, I do. Okay. I mean, I didn't for a long time. Coffee.
Just plain old coffee.
Black coffee or... This is a little bit of almond milk and sugar-free vanilla. Like, that was a spoiled coffee. But normally, it's just been black.
Okay.
I don't know. I felt like...
You were like a real woman. You can do...
During prep, I was like, I want black coffee. Yes. That was the goal because I had so much creamer in it. And, I lose all my fats in the creamer. And I like creamer. I love creamer.
Yeah.
But once I started drinking black coffee, it was a different animal. I was like, I feel like a badass. Like, I wanted to put aviators on and just like
drink your coffee
outside. Little bit of gritty, I'm just kidding. I'm not that gritty, but I'm kind of like a snob now about it. If it's like I can taste if it's like burnt, or I'm like, ooh, these beans are just like they taste great, or they're like.
That's great. That's so funny. Do you like grind your own coffee then?
Yeah.
Oh,
I grind my own coffee
okay.
beans. Like, I was excited to come here, and Justin made me not forget. Like, I cannot forget to get those coffee beans.
Yes.
What's that place called?
Yeah, right across from St. Arts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they have a pecan coffee bean, and we had it all the time when we were here, and he was like, you better get that pecan. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, if you could choose any person that would be tuning into this podcast, who would it be, and what would you say? Any person.
Any person to tune into this podcast.
Cal, it's my turn. Oh, sorry. We're done. It's okay. It's okay. Continue.
It's okay. It's giving me time to think.
Give me like 10 minutes. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
If any person on this world, this is so crazy. I'm trying to think of like my biggest idols, like who would that be? Who would want to listen to Abby's first podcast?
Yes. Where you talk about what's going to be happening soon.
You know what? I would say all I keep thinking about is my mom. Isn't that so funny? Like, because I just keep saying idols, and I was like, my mom. Like, I want her to drive down the road and listen to this and just be like, wow, my daughter's on a podcast.
That's fun that you said that, because I had one of our coaches on here, and he literally just texted me before you came in here, and he said, my mom loves your podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just, moms.
There's something about it.
There.
Yeah. I need, and that's so funny. It's like, I'm like here being like, wow, it should be someone like super famous. I'm like, why? Right. They don't know me.
Exactly.
They don't care about me. I want someone to listen and like literally like feel in their heart that, right. And I know my mom will listen to this, and I know and so I think that's another special thing. I want her to hear that. I want her to listen to this.
And that's, I think, one of the things me doing this podcast, people are like, what famous people are going to get on there? And I'm like, well, yeah, getting some famous people on the podcast, awesome. But people are interesting. Like, all people are interesting. I can go and probably get every athlete at the college and just learn so much, because everybody has a story, and everybody's story is interesting if they tell it the right way.
It's true.
Okay, and to end it off, this one's like, get the brain going. Okay. If I asked you to give me a quote right now off the top of your head, what would it be?
Believe you can, and you're halfway there.
Oh, that's a good way to end it.
That's my mantra.
I love it.
That's my quote.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby, so much for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter. Not us. You just follow me on Twitter. That's Coach Kobza. Follow me on Instagram, Coaching Caffeine and Comedy. And I will make sure to have all of Abby's information under our notes. So make sure you check out notes. Abby's on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Abs_Camper.
Yes, she has the best content. You can probably scroll through there, see her cute husband and all of her cute little children, and get to see, her life on the social media. So it's pretty awesome.
My journey.
Your journey. Yes, And anyways, if you guys have any questions, just shoot us out. Reach out to me on social media. But anyways, thank you again for listening to another episode of Coaching, Caffeine, and Comedy.
Thanks, guys.